I want to talk about, Ash, you touched on it a bit before, and that's Ben Davies. Obviously, when Van de Ven got that injury, everyone was very concerned about who's going to fill in a centre back, basically, or left centre back during the time that he's out, and there was a lot of concern about our defence at that time. But Ben Davies has come in, and I don't think has really had a bad game, to be honest, himself, ever since he's come into the side. And maybe I think against Villa, he might have struggled a bit against Ollie Watkins. But other than that, I can't think of too many games where I come out away with it thinking what a bad game he's had or anything like that. I think he's had a really good game. But the question is, does he deserve maybe more credit from the fan base? Because he always gets like lumped in with Dyer and all these other players maybe who are basically who basically embody the club being held back in some sort of way because they're still at the club and we have to move on from these kind of players. But do you think maybe Davies' performances in recent weeks are a counter to that narrative? Or do you think maybe he's had a few good games but he's still a player that shouldn't have a long-term future here?
You know what it is? He's steady Eddie, as everyone calls him. You can't be mad at him. At that Wolves game where he came in, after that man's Chelsea game when we got all the players injured and sent off, blah, 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 he's had to step in. He's had to be professional. He's not like done interviews behind people's backs or blah, blah, blah. He's just been Ben Davies. You see what I'm trying to say? He's come in, and I think at that Wolves game, he was probably one of the other players that was like, you were like, yeah, he was all right. Didn't do too bad. He did actually okay. So I think from that Wolves game, and then after that, like you said, we had Villa, Man City. I think the Man City game, he was all right as well. So like after those games there, he's just done a job. He's literally done it. And we were nervous because we know he hasn't really got pace like that. But where he's been a little bit smart and he's used his experience, I think he's timed his runs to a T where he knows that, okay, against Newcastle, these guys, they're a little bit quicker than me, so I'm going to have to be ready and I have to be sure. As soon as that ball goes over the top, I need to run. And he makes that important challenge where it could have gone into my man at the back post and he could have scored a goal when we were playing Newcastle at home, so against Isaac. So I just think, we need to improve on that moving forward because, to be fair to the brother, he's been here 9-10 years. 9-10 years. Thank you very much. No disrespect. You're a lovely guy, Welsh guy. You've done your country service proud and whatever. You've done us proud. But it's just time to move on. Like, that's what I think. If we're going to go to the next level and we don't want that kind of drop off, I think Ben Davies, everyone agrees, squad player, I think we can improve. We want players that are fighting for places. You want to improve your Van der Vens. You want to improve your Romero. So whoever comes in, there's not such a drop-off, especially when it comes to cup competitions, because I think that's the reason why we've been flopping of late when it comes to cups. We haven't won any cups for how many years because of that. The drop-off's too much. So, but since he's come in, you can't be mad. You can't be mad. Some people may argue that, he's done all right. He hasn't done super well. He's just done his job in terms of there's some times I've seen in the air. He hasn't won every single aerial challenge. But more time, on the ground duels, he's done his thing. He's passed out the back fairly well. My critique of Ben Davies would be he needs to be a bit quicker in making that decision. He's a bit slow. Sometimes he's not sure of himself. And so that can slow down our attack because when we're trying to build out from the back, we kind of need those balls a bit quicker, a bit faster. So that's all it is with Ben Davies. But yeah, my hat goes off to him. Fair play, man. He's done his job. He hasn't complained. And he's just helped us when we needed. And I thought it was going to be more of a drop-off, but he's been one of the better players that has come in and done the job, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, go on.
No, but we do need to replace him, though. We do.
Yeah, in terms of what you're saying, your criticisms, I always think pace has probably not been ever Davis's forte, let's say, which is fair to say. Still, it's 2023. And we are still talking about Ben Davies. So for you, what does that say about the club? Or do you think, he's rightfully still here based on merit and the last 5 games show that?
Sim, I've always got an opinion, a view, something to say, but there's nothing I can add to what Ash just said. Like everything he said, I agree with. Like everything, even the bit at the end. But we still need to replace him. But you can't hate on him. Everything he just said, I agree with. I don't know what more I can add to it.
Fair enough. Like, but do you feel like with Ben Davies, his contract is coming up in 18 months? Obviously, the at the moment, I guess the talk is he'll probably see out his contract and maybe leave on a free. But for you, is there anything he can do at this point to earn a new deal?
No. If we're going to be serious about winning major honours, we need players that come in and can potentially fight to start, replace Romero, replace Van de Ven. You look at look at our competition, Man City. They've got an array of top defenders. I know they're not having the best of times right now, but they've proven over the last 5, 6, 7 years, they've got many good defenders that they can turn to when in need. We need to start building up that squad. This has been our Achilles heel under Poch, under Redknapp, under every manager, even Conte and Jose, whether fans like them or not. We've never had that squad in depth where you don't worry. Like, let's be honest, when Ben Davies was going to start games, we all worried. Mm-hmm. When Eric Dyer was going to start games, we all worried. Ben Davies has clearly stepped up and he's doing really well as the backup. But the fact that we worried says it all. And I think that when a player comes on the pitch, we shouldn't say to ourselves, oh no, if you're saying that, that means there's a problem.
But is that justified? Based on his last few appearances, is it justified, maybe, that response?
Over the long term, it is justified. As a short-term stop-fill whilst a player's injured, he's proven us all wrong. Or he's certainly proven me wrong. But would I trust Ben Davies to be our centre-back for the remainder of the season? No. I want Van de Ven because there's a massive difference between those two. It's not even close. But Ben Davies has come in and done a job. And Nash is right. We can't hate on him because he has done a good job. But we need the kind of competition that excites us. The kind of competition where we feel, yeah, all right, Maddison's out. Okay, Romero's out. Okay, Son's injured. No problem. If we can start saying that, we can have a serious conversation about winning big trophies.
Yeah, I completely agree. I agree with both of you. I think I've really appreciate what Ben Davies has done over the last few games, and all throughout Spurs' career. But I think we were all very concerned about him being able to cope with the demands of what we ask of our centre backs at Tottenham since Ange has come in, and I have definitely been pleasantly surprised with him, with his ability to step up and actually. I think last game was probably man of the match or very close to it. He had a brilliant game. Again, against the likes of Newcastle, he was brilliant. Even in the games where we haven't been winning, I thought he's had a really strong performance. But at the end of the day, has he done well as a centre back, or has he done well like for him? And I'm not really sure which one it is. Like, I think he's played a really good game, but are we just? I kind of feel like I'm not saying he hasn't done well just as a general level, but I do feel like we're maybe giving him a lot of praise because of how concerned and how much he has surprised us, as opposed to we're saying what an amazing game he's having as a general centre-back, if you know what I mean.
Tim, do you know what it is, right? So if you take into consideration the way Tottenham are trying to play, what is Ange ball and understanding Ange ball, Ben Davies does not suit that style of play. When I watch Romero, I see a very calm, very composed player on the ball. When he's on the ball, I never worry. He'll find that pass. He'll thread that ball between a couple of players and get it to feet. Even at the back, quite often, I know people will call him rash and say he's crazy, but most of the time when you watch Romero, he doesn't go into sliding tackles. He'll stay on his feet, watch, and then he pounces and he just nicks the ball off your feet. There's that calmness about him that suits the way we play. And then because he nicks it off you, rather than clearing it, he can then begin the transition from defense to offense and begin the build up of play, and we progress through the lines. And he can carry it forward and be part of the attacking play. That is exactly what Ange's system requires. Ben Davies, if you want someone that's going to put his neck on the line, throw his body into a tackle and win it, put those defensive blocks in, yeah. But is that the main requirement from a centre-back in an Ange-ball system? For me, no. And I think that's what it comes down to, Sim. I don't think he's the ideal type of player for the system and the way we want to play going forward. Whereas Romero and Van de Ven, for me, they tick all the boxes for the way we want to play.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think Davis has done really well considering the circumstances. But I do agree, when push comes to shove, I think, is he a player that you really want stepping in, or would you rather a better quality player over the long term? And I still think, as much as I think Ben Davies has done well, we can do better. I think that is the reality, and I really do appreciate Ben Davies has been brilliant over the last few games, but I just still think he lacks certain qualities that really make that Ange system like perfect and like make it like truly impenetrable or truly unplayable. And that's always going to be the case when you have someone like Ben Davies in the team, however harsh it is to say, as much as I love him and appreciate him. But yeah, I think he's done a brilliant job. He definitely deserves credit for the job he has done. But I agree, I don't think there should be a scenario where in 18 months' time or something, we're looking at giving him a new contract. I would rather just move on at that point, and he would be, 32, 33. He would be getting on a bit. So I completely agree with both your sentiments on Ben Davies, to be honest.